Welcome to Moments with Marianne. I'm so delighted we're spending this time here today. We have a very inspiring show coming right up with special guests, Dr. James Hill and Dr. Holly Wyatt. And they're here to share with us their new book, State of Slim. Fix your metabolism and drop 20 pounds in 8 weeks on the Colorado diet. Now, Dr. Holly earned her medical degree from Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. She completed her internal medicine and endocrinology training at the University of Colorado. She has been involved in the field of obesity, weight management, and metabolism for her entire career. Dr. James Hill is an internationally recognized leader in weight management. He has a Ph.D. from the University of New Hampshire in psychological psychology and has spent the past 35 years conducting research to understand why obesity develops and how we can prevent it and treat it. Dr. James Hill and Dr. Holly Wyatt both have guided participants in ABC's Extreme Weight Loss and The Biggest Loser series. So let's welcome to the show Dr. James Hill and Dr. Holly Wyatt.
Thank you.
Great. Pleasure to be here. Thanks.
What a joy it is to have you here. I mean, we were talking just a little minute ago. I have a dear friend who is, working with you guys and using the State of Slim, and she's going through some transformational changes and sent me the book, and I have been just dying to talk with you guys about this book.
Right. We would love to talk about the book. It's one of our favorite things to talk about. And yes, you said transformational changes. That's definitely what we see when people go through the State of Slim.
Weight loss isn't easy. Short-term weight loss is easy, but long-term weight loss really does take a transformation. So we're learning how to help people make that transformation.
Well, I found your book to be very profound. State of Slim had a lot of information in there. So I have to ask, how long did it take for you both to do the research on this book?
Yeah, I'll take that one. The book really reflects the work Holly and I have done together over probably the past 20 years. It's our own research. It's research from a project we've worked on, the National Weight Control Registry, where we've learned from people that have succeeded. We've worked with the reality television show, Extreme Weight Loss. We've done our own programs. So it really is the culmination of over 20 years of research and practice. And what we tried to do in that book is to pull together everything we've learned.
Well, it seems that what you're doing is really kind of the key for a lot of people from what I'm hearing. And so I have to ask, so we look at traits of people who are what we would consider obese or having difficulty losing weight, and traits of people who have no problem keeping it off, which it seems like it's most of Colorado, So what are the differences between those traits?
Well, that's a great question, and that's really kind of how one of the reasons the book got started is every single year the media would come to us and say, why is Colorado the leanest state? What makes Colorado different? Why are the people who live in Colorado maybe a little bit different than the people who live in other states? And that really got us kind of studying some of the characteristics of what is different here. I will say that we have obesity here too, so it's not that we've figured everything out, but I do think we do some things a little bit better than other states. And the great thing about it is the book is about what do we do, what is different, and then how you can take it outside of Colorado. I always say State of Slim is not really about a physical state. It really is about a state of mind, a way of living. And so it's about taking some of those characteristics and taking them out and exporting them. And we can start talking about some of them, but there's not just one thing. I wish it was just one thing, but there's actually a list of things, and that's really what's important and what the book goes into.
Everybody starts with diet, and diet is certainly important, but physical activity is important. And the thing that we've really emphasized in this program is your mental attitude or your mindset is critical in all this. We can give you the best diet in the world, but unless you're able to transform your mindset, you're not going to be able to stick with the new lifestyle.
Well, and I love how you both are approaching this as, kind of in a way a mind, body, spirit approach, because you're looking at the whole person as opposed to, as you were saying, you've got the best diet, the best program in the world, but at the same time, without that mindset component, it does no good.
One of the things that we're most proud of is that when people go through the program and we talk to them about what's different, weight loss is in there, but it's rarely the first thing they talk about. They talk about they've got their life back, they're happier. Weight's so tied up in many things that just getting weight off is not the real answer. It really is transforming that person to a person who can live their life at a lower, healthier weight.
So when you both developed this book, did you have a certain person or groups of people in mind when this was written? Was it for just people who are overweight or for anybody? Who is this book for?
Well, if you look in the book, we actually sort of talk about different groups of people. This book is for everybody. In fact, even for people that don't need to lose weight. But the fact of the matter is, what people are seeking is weight loss. But in the book, what we try to help people do is to achieve a lifestyle which maximizes their health and their happiness. So we get a lot of people going through the program who only need to lose a little bit of weight, or occasionally some people that don't need to lose any weight. But the book is written to take people that are overweight or obese, help them get weight off, but show them how to achieve a lifestyle that they can live forever. The way most people do it, they go out, they make all these changes, they lose weight, they can't maintain them, they regain it. For us, success is not getting the weight off, it's maintaining the weight, but also achieving a lifestyle that maximizes their happiness as well as their health.
In my clinic, I think I've been seeing patients helping people lose weight for a really long time, and I think I wrote this book for the people who come into my clinic and are really fighting the yo-yo. They have lost weight, but they've regained it. They've lost it. They've regained it, and it not only affects them physically, it affects them, mentally, and it affects their psychologically, how they think of themselves, how they think about what they're going to do in the world. So it really was designed to help people beat the yo-yo. Yes, it causes weight loss. We have a program that gets at weight loss because that's what everybody wants, but it really is about stopping that yo-yo phenomenon once and for all.
Oh, my goodness. That's so important because you hear all the time, and I've gone through it myself and know quite a few friends that have too, where you start a certain diet or eating habits and lose X amount of pounds, and then you come back and that's finished, and then all of a sudden things, you're back to the weight you were or worse, and it's just this horrible feeling.
Yes. And it trickles down into other areas of your life. It starts to affect, you start to feel like you're a victim to your weight, and that can affect all kinds of areas. So with Stay to Slim, it's got to be bigger than just weight loss, and it's got about being able to be successful long term. And to do that, that's different than what the typical person does when they try to lose weight. It's got to be a different approach.
Well, and I know in your book, the subtitle is Fix Your Metabolism and Drop 20 Pounds in 8 weeks, and on the Colorado diet. So when we look at that and we talk about fixing our metabolism, what are some things that go wrong that make our metabolism kind of come to a screeching halt?
That's such a great question. So for years, people would come in to talk to Holly and I, and they would say, I'm overweight, but my metabolism is broken. And we would measure some things, and it seemed perfectly normal, and we would say, no, it really isn't. But as science has developed, what we've learned is, in fact, these people were right. Their metabolism is broken, and they have a concept that's being called metabolic inflexibility. So basically, their bodies aren't very good at switching between fuel sources, fat, carbohydrate, and protein, over a day. And what that adds up to is a susceptibility to gain weight. So when we talk about fixing your metabolism, we want to make people metabolically flexible. The best way to do that is with exercise. Diet helps a little bit, but exercise is the real way to do that, so that you don't have to exercise to lose weight, but unless you can add exercise as a consistent part of your life, you're very likely not going to keep the weight off, because the exercise is necessary to correct the metabolism. So we use diet to get the weight off, we use exercise to correct the metabolism, and we use mindset to help people transform and find a way of a lifestyle that they can achieve forever. So they've essentially become different people after going through the program.
What a just amazing transformation that is, and I've heard of just wonderful stories coming from the work that the two of you are doing. So I'm not surprised, because a lot of times when I hear talk about metabolism, it's like we need to get it back on track. And a lot of times people are like, well, I have no idea how to do that. And so when we look at, you're talking about exercise, using that as a component, is there some exercise that's better to do than others? Anything that we should know about that?
Yeah, everybody wants to know exactly what to do, but when it really comes down to it, moving more, getting more movement, just any way that you can spend energy, exert energy. You don't have to walk, you don't have to run, you can swim, you can do anything. And it really is just about getting a certain volume of activity, moving more in that sense, and not getting so hung up on exactly the intensity or exactly the time of day. Moving in general is number one in terms of getting that metabolic flexibility going.
And here's where the transformation concept can come in. I can give you an example. So we know that it's critical to exercise to keep weight off. People that don't exercise have a very hard time doing it. But we also know it's hard to get people to exercise. So what we do in our programs is, rather than say we want you to go out and adhere to exercise, we do that. But we also want to work on mindset to say what we want you to become is an exerciser. We want you to think of yourself as, I'm a person that exercises. So if it's, gee, I hate to do it, I have to go and do it, you're not going to. But with the mindset change, you say, you know what? I'm an exerciser. That's what I do. And that's the kind of transformation we're after in this program.
It's who you become. It's an identity shift and lining up with someone who can live this lifestyle that's going to bring out their very best life. So that identity shift is key.
Well, and for some, I'm just kind of seeing if you guys get feedback on this. When someone hasn't done a whole lot of exercise and they're looking to make shifts and they're thinking, gosh, I'm going to be an exerciser now, is it a jump for them to make that switch in mindset, or is it something that they can take baby steps in?
Baby steps, and that's what we do in the program. We start people off very small amounts of activity, a little bit each day, and really at that point it's about changing the mindset as you're doing small amounts of activity. It doesn't occur overnight. It's not something you can just snap your fingers. But when you go through the process over time, that's what develops. So a lot of people are uncomfortable when they first start the program. They say, I've never been an exerciser. I've never enjoyed it. But by the end of the program, they see themselves differently. But it is step by step, slowly over time. And we have lots of people who've had that change in their mindset and been very successful with it.
Well, that's good to hear that there's no expectation of people to start getting off their couches and running marathons,
No, it happens gradually, and some people do it quicker than the others. But our goal is to move people in the right direction and to work on the mindset. And in many cases, it's almost like flipping a switch. They suddenly get it after a while, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm an exerciser.
That's got to be so exciting for the both of you. You must have the best seat in the house to be able to see these dramatic changes take place with the people you work with.
I will tell you that that's something that's amazingly fulfilling for both of us, because, we got into this area because we want to help people. And when we see the kinds of transformations that are made, it occasionally brings tears to my eyes to see people transform, not just with weight loss, but with their whole approach to life.
Well, and I know that you have some stories that you share within your book. Do you have one that you can share with us now so our listeners get a better understanding of just how this all comes together?
Yeah, we're trying to think of, there's so many. I'm trying to think of the best one. Well, yeah, what did you do? You do, Jen. You know her.
That's a good problem to have, you know?
We have somebody that went through our program early on that's actually given me permission to use her story. So I'm not talking out of school here. So we'll call her Jen. And she was very, very overweight and very, very sedentary. And very, very unhappy. She basically was a really social person who had no friends and never did anything. So she had this really big disconnect with who she was as a person, social person, liking interaction with people, but the way she was living, which was basically like a hermit, go to work and come home. And for her, the transformation was understanding that the life she was living is not the life, it was not consistent with her values and her purpose in life. And realizing this disconnect, number one, it was very almost traumatic in realizing that, but that was the kind of motivation that led her to make a change. And the last time I looked, she was down around 150 pounds. Every weekend she's out exercising, not necessarily because she likes exercise, because now she has a group of friends who do that. So now she's learned how to be social within this group of Stay to Slim people.
Well, and thank you for sharing that, because you touch on another one, because I've got more questions than we probably have time for answers today. But one of them is about community and how important it is to have a community that's working with you as you're going through this process.
Definitely. Social support and community is, I think, one of the key features in Stay to Slim, and it's one of the reasons why we believe Colorado is the leanest state. It's one of the reasons why we think we are the leanest state. You take on the behaviors of the people you hang around. You know, we know that the 5 people you spend the most time with, you're more likely to do the behaviors they do than anybody else. And so when you're trying to make a behavioral change long term, when you're trying to become an exerciser, when you're trying to eat healthier, you need to be hanging around, connected to the people who are doing it, that have passion for it. I always say, if you're trying to do something that's difficult, let's say you're trying to bring your lunch to work. You've been going out every single day and not eating healthy for lunch, and you're going to start bringing a healthy lunch to work. I'm like, find the people in your office who bring their lunch to work and hang out with them. You will be more apt to continue that behavior. So connection and hanging out with what we call Stay to Slimmers, people who value the same, you know, being active and eating healthy and the mindset, and who get it and who speak Stay to Slim almost, hanging out with them, you're more likely to continue down that path and be connected. And it was a really key part for Jen, and I think it's a real key part for anybody. Hang out with the people that are living the life you want to live, and you're more likely to do it long term.
Now, with the Stay to Slim community, is that something that you guys get together and do different activities? What does that look like?
So I'm so glad Holly's laughing at me. I'm so glad you asked, because this is my baby. So we've created a concept that's just getting started. It's called Stay to Slim Nation. It's basically a virtual community for people who have been through the program. It's a way for those people to stay connected with Holly and I, to stay connected with each other, to go to exercise together, events together. So this is a real exciting new project that we're just starting, which is to create a way for these people who have been through the program to interact with each other and provide long-term social support.
That's so important. Because I look at community and I love being connected with people, and something like having that support, I think, is so, would just help people kind of continue what's going on, all that good work.
I think it's essential for long-term success.
Well, and then it brings me to my next question, because we kind of touched on a little bit at the beginning. We talked about with the weight loss that comes with this, that people keep off the weight. Why is that? And do you guys start like a weight loss maintenance program? And if so, when does that happen?
Well, that is a great question, because Stay to Slim, when you started, it is about losing weight. It's about weight loss. But how we've designed the program is while you're losing the weight, we're setting you up to be where you need to be successful at keeping the weight off. So it really is a weight loss maintenance program, but we don't call it that because no one ever wants to go into a weight loss maintenance program. They're all about losing the weight. So we've learned the hard way that you've got to get people what they want, which is weight loss, and we do that. We do that very effectively, and you sneak in what they need, which is weight loss maintenance, making sure they're where they need to be. I say begin with the end in mind. Make sure we know and we get them where they need to be to keep it off, and that's your metabolism. That's routines and rituals. That's your connections. That's setting up your social environment to support you, setting up your physical environment to support you, getting the mindset right. So there's a bunch of things that we're working on simultaneously while you're losing the weight, so that at the end of the weight loss phase, you're ready. You're in the best possible position to keep the weight off. So yes, our program does that. We call it a weight loss program, and you do lose weight, but it really sneaks in and gets you ready for that weight loss maintenance piece.
Well, and how important is that? Because you do hear about the weight loss maintenance programs, and you're right, no one wants to show up for that. That sounds like, ooh, that doesn't sound like fun. But when it's incorporated the way that you do, it's just a continuation of the great work that you're doing.
Well, it's funny, people will come to us and say, I went through this program and it worked, I'm going back to it again. And my comment is, if it worked, you wouldn't really need to go back to it again. We've got to understand that treating obesity is not just getting the weight off, it's also helping people keep it off.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what are some of the, since we're talking about mindset, what are some of the other kind of adjustments that you see people explain to you that they're seeing within their environment because of the mindset change?
So, kind of from a mindset standpoint, there's lots of different things. One of them is believing they can succeed. I say the body follows the mind, and if you believe you're going to be successful and you put your energy that way, and you have a good what to do, you can be very successful. However, a lot of people come in from the very beginning and say, this isn't going to work. They tend to put their mindset and their energy in toward the negative side of things. So we work on that kind of shift. We work a lot on motivation. We work on, talking about how we solve barriers and believing they can do it and having the skills to do it. All of those kinds of things. Seeing the glass half full is important. We talk about positivity. It's just a kind of a different way to put your energy and your mindset. And I think when you couple it with a great program that works, the why with the what, you get a very, very good result.
One of the parts of that we hit pretty hard is this idea that a lot of people feel like they're victims. Oh, it's not my fault. It's this and that have done it to me. And that victim mentality, it feeds on itself. And, in some ways, maybe it's not fair that genetically you're inclined to be overweight. But you can choose to be a victim or you can choose to be a victor and say, well, I can't have control over the cards I'm dealt, but I can play the hand I have. And so we help people understand that being a victim doesn't help at all. You need to control what you can control. And for most people, you can control enough to achieve what you want in the long run.
I love that, Dr. Hill. I mean, my goodness, it sounds like it's, just you really work with people on their mindset and getting them to this right place. And so I'm wondering, how much of this also is maybe like a skill set that they've never learned before, growing up, and now they're in these bad habits that are kind of keeping them stuck.
Well, the real key to Stay to Slim is the mindset. I mean, we have a good diet and we have a good exercise program and we understand metabolism. All that's important. But the key really is the mindset change, because it's the mindset change that allows you to sustain these changes. So what we talk about is aligning how you live your life with your purpose and values in life. And when you do that, it's a magical thing. And we spend a lot of time helping people understand what really is important in your life, what really matters, what were you really meant to do, and are you living a lifestyle that's consistent with that? And many times people realize they're not, and that's a huge motivation for change. So once we get the motivation, yes, going back and changing bad habits and all that we can do. But without the real motivation and transformation, none of this would be sustainable.
I always tell people, a lot of times we know what to do. I mean, if I'm in an audience and say, raise your hand if you know you should be eating some more vegetables, you should be moving more. We know what we should be doing, but most of the time we don't do it. And so you can have the very best what in the world and tell people and help them change things, but if they don't understand the why, the motivation, how it lines up with what's important to them, the why, the big why is what we call it, you're never going to get the what, the behaviors, to stick.
I love it. I love it because it really is making it so important. It's that, I don't want to say it's that carrot that's always in front of you, but it's really finding that purpose and that drive in life that makes things meaningful and powerful.
It's your personal carrot. You've got to do the work to find your personal carrot. And every single person's carrot is slightly different, right? There may be some similarities, but really it's your carrot. And if you do the work and you find that, you can change your life in the direction you want it to go, to live your very best life. And that's the key, to do the work to find that personal carrot. I love it. Maybe I'm going to use that.
It could be a personal potato chip. You never know, right?
Well, we're going to go with carrot, but no.
Well, and so for people that don't live in Colorado, I mean, do you see people from other states? How can people connect with you to work with the two of you if they're not within that geographical area?
Great question. We've been working on that. That's one thing we want to do, is really be able to spread this program to touch more people. So we definitely have in-person programs in Colorado, but just this last month we have launched our program called Stay to Slim Everywhere, and we deliver the 16-week program to people no matter where you live. So we are able to do it virtually. We have a platform that we use. It kind of looks like the Brady Bunch. Everybody's on the screen. And we are delivering the same 16-week program that goes with the book. And now we're able to reach more people. You don't have to physically live in our state. We still have in-person programs, but we're taking it out. We're taking it out to people everywhere.
We're very excited about this because this is going to allow us to bring Stay to Slim all over the country. And we've even got requests to take it in other countries. So we've been working on this for a long time, and we're excited to say that we now have a way of taking Stay to Slim outside of Colorado.
Oh, I love that. And what's so cool is it looks like this starts beginning of January, right?
I'm doing 2 classes now, but yes, we have some more classes that will be starting the beginning of January, so that's perfect timing kind of for people who are ready to transform their life in 2019. So yes, on our website, go to our website at www.staytoslim.com and let us know if you're interested about knowing when these classes will start, but January of 2019.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine a better gift for oneself because this really isn't just about weight. This is about really making changes in your life.
That's such an important statement. You are so right. This is way more than weight.
Well, and so we've got statoslim.com where people can go and learn more information. You know, Dr. James Hill and Dr. Holly Wyatt, thank you both so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
We've really enjoyed it. And, our passion is helping people succeed at losing weight and changing their lives. So thank you for the opportunity to get our message out.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Holly and Dr. James. It has been such a pleasure to spend this time with you, and of course, to talk about your new book, State of Slim. State of Slim is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and most indie bookstores. If they don't have it on the shelf, ask for them to order it. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I would like to thank everyone for tuning in. You're listening to Moments with Marianne. And remember, make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Moments with Marianne airs every Thursday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.